Russ, you're good to go.
Thanks, Harry.
Have a great class. Bye bye.
Bye.
Hello.
Hi, Myrna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you again. Hi, John. John, is it John and Colina? Wonder how I guessed that.
And Nancy.
And Nancy. John and Nancy.
Hi.
Hi, who was that? That was another Nancy. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Susan, Beverly, Charles, Joe, Brenda, Paula. Boy, everyone's coming in. Big class tonight. One more week, last week of Rick Steves. And next Monday evening, we have Frank and Joanne Kohler of Cuba.
Oh,
You want to do?
But we're not doing food tonight necessarily. So it's safe to do before supper, I think. Why don't folks, while we're waiting, put in the chat where you're from? Margaret wants to know where my cap went. Well, in the evening, if I put my cap on, it shades my eyes too much because I have a light above me here. However, in about a week, I should be able to do my evening class outside. I did the afternoon class outside today.
oh.
Okay, so Susan from Ohio, Rose from Cape Coral, Florida, Margaret, I was asking where my hat is. A. Rosend is from Bronxville, New York. Nancy is from New Jersey. Barbara's from Montana. Now that's nice. I haven't had from someone from Montana yet that I'm aware of. Great. That means it's a couple hours earlier in Montana. And John and Nancy Colina, I got that right this time, are from Grosse Isle, Michigan. Margaret's from Bergen County, New Jersey. I think I know where that is. And Susan's from City Island, New York. Beverly's from Gainesville, Florida. Myrna's from Crest Hill, Illinois. We discussed that last week. She went out and she walked up the hill this week in Crest Hill. But first she had to find it. If anyone's lived in northern Illinois or Indiana, it's pretty darn flat. Kansas might be worse. I don't know. It's when flat is flat as far as I'm concerned. Brenda's from Colorado. Dolores is from Sterling Heights, Michigan. Now that might be some heights. And Pam is from Colorado. We have some regulars here. We've got a bunch of new folks. That's great.
Oklahoma City was pretty flat.
Rose, your city's pretty flat.
Yeah, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I've been there too. It's flat.
Yeah, it's flat, man. It's flat. And I don't even see how the police can catch anyone speeding because there's nothing for the police to hide behind. No trees, no nothing. You're in wide open spaces. But believe it or not, I actually saw someone got pulled by the police for speeding. I'm like, what? How you didn't see
An incompetent speeder.
Where are you from, Russ?
I'm from Harrisonburg, Virginia, which is a Shenandoah Valley. And let me see if I can find a picture that I took off my deck this afternoon while I was doing my class. Let's see if I can find that. And let's see here. While we're just getting everybody in, I'll find
How far is that from Emporia,
Emporia what?
Virginia?
I don't know where Emporia, Virginia is. I believe there's one, but I don't know Emporia, Virginia.
Emporia is like right after North Carolina.
We're probably pretty far away.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, North Carolina is several hours, no matter how you slice it.
Oh, how far are you from Reston?
About 2 hours from Reston.
Oh, okay.
So Reston is Northern Virginia, and Harrisonburg is about 2 hours southwest of there. We're in the Shenandoah Valley. That's where we are. I'm going to see if I can find my photo. There it is, photos library. Open that one. And let's see. There's another way I can do that photo if I can't get it off my photo stream. I better check and find out what kind of photo it was. And I'll put it in my, there we go. Okay. So I'll do a brief share screen, then I'll come back to everybody while we're still getting everyone in here, and you can see what I see off my front deck every day. That's the view off my deck. And the mountains look farther away than they really are. Those are the Allegheny Mountains. And
Beautiful to wake up to.
I'll tell you what's beautiful about it, Myrna, is every day it's different. So some days I can't see the mountains because the whole valley's fogged in, and some days I can just see the tops of the mountains. And some days, if you get up early enough, you can see the light so behind me is a small ridge, and as the light comes over that ridge and hits the mountains in the distance, the tops of the mountains light up, and it goes all the way down, and I can follow the light going across the floor of the valley as the sun gets higher and higher. So it's really nice. Behind me, so that range of mountains is about 9 miles away. In the other direction, you go about 20 miles, you hit the Blue Ridge Mountains. So that's the Shenandoah Valley is about 30 to 40 miles wide, and it's and these I have redbud trees, which are now just about finishing. They're dropping their flowers. I have about 15 redbuds in an area right below my deck. So I'm lucky. I count myself lucky. And in the evenings, we get a tremendous show at sunset. We never know what it's going to be like. If there's clouds in the sky, we might get a bright red sunset. It just never know what it's going to be. So I never get tired of this view. And I will say this. This is what you see out the kitchen window when you're doing dishes.
Wow.
So I'm always I'm
dishes?
never a slacker at doing the dishes because I'll just look at the view. I really like it. Tomorrow I'll try to do that. I taught my class. See if some of you might have been in my class this afternoon at 4, and that's what I was looking at while I was teaching the class.
That was a good answer because I'm saying, I know you're not saying she should be happy looking out the window as she does the dishes.
Well,
you're going to get spanked, man.
I do the dishes, except for right now. I'll be honest. My wife is doing the dishes. She's there with her sister, and she knows I'm working, so she's doing the dishes. But I do the dishes most of the time. I actually cook at least half the meals. I like to cook.
That'll work. That's wonderful. That's teamwork.
Yep.
It's just so beautiful. It's just beautiful from one end to the other. It really is a beautiful state.
Yeah, I love Virginia. My father was from Richmond, and so as a child, we went down to see my grandparents and aunt and uncle all the time. And love the eastern side of the state. The difference is it's a little warmer over there. So that means that their winters are a bit milder.
Mhm.
But the flip side of it means the summers are a little bit hotter too, and a lot more humid. The Shenandoah Valley is not as humid as it is
Okay.
the eastern side of the state, which is around the Chesapeake Bay, can be very humid. And I remember as a kid going to my grandparents or aunt and uncles and laying awake at night because I was sweating because it was so hot and humid in their house. So
And it's so clean. It's such a beautiful, clean state.
yeah,
Very much like Florida. Florida is a very nice, clean state as well. That littering thing is just simply not something that we are definitely going to settle for. I love Virginia. I think it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
And I have someone, Akawa, is it Talifer? How do you pronounce your last name? I've seen that pronounced Talifer in places.
Taliaferro.
Taliaferro, okay. Well, it's great to see everyone. This is our last week with Rick Steves. Tonight we're doing a little island hopping in Greece. Rhodes, the Isle of Rhodes is one of the places we're going to be going to. And in fact, I'm going to do a screen share here because I'm going to get started. And I will actually bring up a map because I thought this was kind of interesting. And if you go way out, you can see where Greece is. And we have to remember that these islands, all these islands right here are part of Greece that are south of Greece, even though they're by the coast of Turkey. And this is one of the ones we're going to go to tonight. That's Santorini. And then we're also going to go to Rhodes. And Rhodes is just a few miles actually off the coast of Turkey over here. So we're going to be in those two places tonight. And Greece actually is, I heard, and my wife read this morning, that Greece is a country that is open for American travel. So we actually might be looking tonight at something that you could do. So we're going to watch a little Rick Steves, and then when we're done, we'll have some talk. And anybody that's been to any of these places, please tell us about it. We want to hear about your experience traveling to Greece. We want to hear everything from the climate to the food to the people to the things you could see. So with that, I'm going to start up Rick Steves.
Rhodes there is the fourth largest of the Greek islands. As we enter the history,
Let me just pause for 1 second. Is everybody hearing that?
is the money euro there? Euro dollars?
It's euros, yes. Okay, good. Just want to make sure you're all hearing. All right, good.
Historic harbor, the walls of the fortified town seem to tell a story. Rhodes is built upon layers of civilizations, Italian, Greek, and Turkish, with a dash of medieval crusader lore from all over Europe tossed in. Today, luxury yachts crowd the harbor. The island's main city, also called Rhodes, was one of the great cities of antiquity. The famed statue called the Colossus of Rhodes once towered above the city.
We can't hear him.
Now we can't hear you.
You're muted.
Sorry about that, everyone. We're going to start that up again because I want to do a reshare for video. I just realized I didn't share that for video. So give me 1 second. We'll start Rick up again.
And could you turn them up just a tiny little bit, please?
I'll try. You should be able to hear him better this time.
Okay, thank you.
Rhodes, or Rhodos as locals call it, is the fourth largest of the Greek islands. As we enter the historic harbor, the walls of the fortified town seem to tell a story. Rhodes is built upon layers of civilizations, Italian, Greek, and Turkish, with a dash of medieval crusader lore from all over Europe tossed in. Today, luxury yachts crowd the harbor. The island's main city, also called Rhodes, was one of the great cities of antiquity. The famed statue called the Colossus of Rhodes once towered above the city. Ancient Greeks believed that this easternmost point of the Greek world, where the rising sun first kissed Greek soil, was the home of the sun god Helios. So they honored Helios by building a colossal statue. It was 100 feet tall and polished bronze. This Colossus of Rhodes was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, but it was destroyed by an earthquake a couple hundred years before Christ, and today, nothing survives. The formidable Falasini Gate is a reminder of the age of chivalry and the famed Knights of Malta. They were also called the Knights of St. John Hospitallers. Their mission during the 12th century Crusades? To protect Christian pilgrims on their way to Jerusalem and provide hospitals for their care. The Pope recognized the Knights of St. John as a religious order, and they eventually became soldiers of the cross, with an economic agenda and a mighty navy. Because the knights were from aristocratic families, they had lots of money and lots of power. As the nearest Greek island to the Holy Land, Rhodes was a natural gathering point for crusaders from all over Europe. In 1309, the Knights of St. John claimed Rhodes as their headquarters and transformed it into a bustling, highly fortified European city governed by their Grand Master. Coming from all over Europe, they gave Rhodes a cosmopolitan feel. This lane, called the Street of the Knights, originally hosted knights from their various countries. Whether from Spain, France, or Germany, each group built its own headquarters here to feel like home. To this day, the street feels medieval, with carved reliefs that show off that original national pride. In the 14th century, the knights built the Palace of the Grand Master, an imposing residence and capital for their leader. Destroyed by the Ottoman Turks, it was rebuilt in a fanciful style just a century ago. The palace was fortified with 3 walls and 2 moats for good reason: the ever-present Turkish threat. Huge granite cannonballs littering the grounds are a reminder that it was said, when the Turks attacked, cannonballs rained down on the city. The Ottoman Turks finally defeated the Knights of St. John in the 1500s. The Knights then retreated hundreds of miles west to the island of Malta, where they built an even more fortified headquarters. Rhodes then became part of the Ottoman Empire for several centuries. In fact, you can still feel that Turkish influence to this very day. Ippokrates Square is the busy heart of the old town. And those once formidable walls now seem only to protect a fun-loving tourists' mecca and a vibrant artists' colony. The bazaar-like back lanes are a delight to wander. And the main shopping drag still feels a bit like a Turkish bazaar. At the top end, a 500-year-old minaret marks the Mosque of Suleiman the Magnificent. Back outside the walls, the city beach sprawls in a beautiful arc away from the harbor. This point, where the Aegean and Mediterranean seas meet, is famously windy, long powering windmills. And the once menacing shores of Turkey are just 12 miles away. The island of Rhodes, while arid, is fun to explore. Locals manage to eke out an existence as they have for centuries. An hour's drive south takes us to the island's other popular attraction. Lindos is the most beautiful town on the island. Strategically set with natural harbors flanking an easy-to-fortify pinnacle, its history goes back long before Christ. For 2,500 years, a hill-capping acropolis has overlooked the town. Originally protecting a temple of Athena, today the Acropolis is mostly the crumbling remains of a Crusader fortress built by the Knights of St. John. The dazzling whitewashed town of Lindos, originally a wealthy maritime center because of its harbor, is now totally overrun by tourists. The homes of sea captains whose wealth came from trade are now fancy hotels and gift shops. While it's traffic-free, if you need to get somewhere, you can always hop on what's nicknamed the Lindos Taxi. Giddy up. The real attraction here are the beaches. Lindos Beach is a broad and sandy strip, great for families. And just beyond the Acropolis is the more exotic St. Paul's Beach, named for a legendary visit by the Apostle Paul nearly 2,000 years ago. A humble Greek Orthodox chapel celebrates that visit to this day. Oblivious to the rich historic heritage surrounding them, vacationers here are expert at relaxing under the steady Greek sun. The Aegean Sea offers the quintessence of Mediterranean island charm. Punctuated by romantic nights at sea, our itinerary promises plenty of unforgettable sightseeing. In the morning, we'll be in Santorini. I enjoy the scenic arrivals and departures by cruise ship. Being on the top deck as you approach the day's destination gives you a quiet, bird's-eye view. Approaching an exotic and fabled island like Santorini as the moon sets and the sun rises, just kissing the lip of the breathtaking cliffs is worth getting up for. Santorini is a dramatic island, the rim of a volcanic crater with spectacular vistas. Once a complete island like its neighbors, it was a volcano that, about 3,500 years ago, blew its top, creating a caldera, this flooded crater. Today, inviting whitewashed villages seem to crowd its dramatic ridges, as if jostling to enjoy the views. Because Santorini's pier is small, giant cruise ships drop anchor and tender their passengers in on small shuttle boats. Individuals go to the tiny Old Harbor, where they can ride a donkey up the zigzag trail, or hop a cable car to the scenic lip of the island crater. Those paying for the cruise line's excursion get off the ship first and head for an alternative port, where buses and guides await. With the crush of the crowds, the limited time, and the scattered array of interesting sights, investing in a bus tour like this to see Santorini can make sense. Within minutes, you'll be powering up the switchbacks into the island as your guide narrates the drive.
Those two are the Kameni Islands. The Kameni Islands are actually made of lava rock.
Excursions also include scenic views from the bus and the stress-free efficiency of getting smoothly from point to point. And tour groups are sure to have free time at the best photo ops. Ia is the postcard image of the Greek Isles. This idyllic ensemble of whitewashed houses and characteristic domes is delicately draped over a steep slope at the top of a cliff. Viewpoints here are some of the most striking in the Greek seas as tourists clamor for just the right angle. Artists fall in love with Ia and move in. Honeymooners find the B&B of their dreams and savor breakfast in unforgettable settings. And at the quiet end of town, the old windmill reminds all of a more rustic age gone by. The whitewash, while scenic today, was originally practical. White reflects the powerful heat of the sun. The lime that makes the whitewash is a good antiseptic. Villagers knew it would naturally disinfect the rainwater that was collected on rooftops. And I love the way the blue and white of the townscape seems inspired by the colors of the Greek flag. Many of these dwellings originated as humble caves. With little building material on the island, it just made sense to dig into the cliffs. These cave houses, surrounded by air-filled pumice, are naturally insulated, staying cool in summer and warm in winter. Gradually, these cheapest bits of real estate were developed, and with tourism, they became today's expensive villas, hotels, and restaurants. With each port, you've got sightseeing options. You can take the organized bus tour and be on their timetable, or you can hire a private guide. You can use a guidebook and be your own guide, or you can just hang out and be thoroughly on vacation. There's no right or wrong. It depends on your mood and your style. I've left our bus tour early for a rendezvous with a private local guide.
We had a big earthquake back in 1956, 7.8 Richter scale, destroyed very many houses, like this captain's house over here. And on the other side, you can see that Venetian fortress, it's destroyed. It's been there since the 14th century.
To get the absolute most out of our Santorini day, I've booked half a day with Dimitris. While pricey, if two couples split the cost, enjoying the services of a private guide can cost about the same as the cruise line's bus tour. Of Santorini's many beaches, Kamari is one of the best. The black sand is a reminder of the island's volcanic origin. Typical of Greek island resort beaches, it's lined with rentable lounge chairs and a strip of seafood restaurants. And with Dimitris, I know exactly what I'm eating.
These salads look delicious. Can you tell me about them?
Well, we have here a Greek salad and a Santorini salad. The difference with the local salad is that we use the local tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes, the local cucumbers, and instead of the feta cheese, we use the goat cheese, and we add the capers and the caper leaves. See, you can eat them. They taste good. We've got some sardines here, grilled, and on the other side, we've got a very nice grilled calamari, also served with salad, the lemon, and the olive oil.
This is a healthy diet.
This is the Mediterranean diet.
Mhm.
That's pretty good. He said, this is a healthy diet. He said, this is the Mediterranean diet. I like to eat a lot like that myself. So anybody been to any of these places in Greece, Rhodes or Santorini?
Nope. I had a vacation planned last year to go to Greece. And then we backed it up to this year in May. And actually it was canceled. Yes, Globus. I got my money back last week, as a matter of fact, because they had decided to postpone until May 31st. And ours was May 24th. So we got cut out. But it's still on my bucket list.
Okay. And any plans for rebooking?
Yes, but maybe next year. I don't know yet. But it's definitely going to be there. We're going to go.
That's good for you. Good for you. And where were you going to go? Do you know?
We were going to Athens, Crete, Santorini, and Rhodes, and some other places.
Okay, so this whetted your appetite for the trip you've got coming up.
Exactly.
Still.
When I saw this, I said, I've got to watch it.
There you go. This is where we're going. Yep. Anybody else been there or got plans to go there? Or anywhere else in Greece? We could even cover the whole Mediterranean. Margaret says she's been to both.
Yes, I went there in September of 19. And it was amazing, fabulous. I walked all over Rhodes. I took buses, I took taxi cabs, I had a private tour. One of the most impressive places was the Jewish Museum, where they discussed all of the Jewish people being taken out of this one Jewish area in Rhodes. It was very emotional.
Wow.
Yep. I also went to Santorini and everything that was in the video. Yes, it's all true. It's absolutely breathtaking. The food, the people, again, we took bus tours all over and we did a lot of walking. We stayed in a hotel on the side of the hill. I don't know how many stairs there were, but if you're going to stay in some place like that, I'd recommend one light suitcase. There were a lot of stairs. It was absolutely beautiful. It was a cave. It was right next to one of those windmills. It was fabulous.
Sounds like the topic of an upcoming class, how to pack everything in one suitcase.
Yeah.
And I'm telling the truth. Go ahead, Margaret.
Yeah. The sunset. Fabulous.
Wow.
Everything that they say it is.
And what time? And this is Rhodes and Santorini?
And Santorini.
And how long were you in each?
Rhodes, I was there for, I think, 6 days. maybe 5 or 6 days. I went by myself, and then I met my daughter in Santorini. So,
Okay.
and we took ferries all over. The ferries are fabulous. They're a lot of fun. Wear your hair up if you have hair. But yeah, it was Crete is on my bucket list. I have a wedding in Ireland in August, and I do want to go to Crete. If once you're in Ireland, you can kind of go anywhere. So
Well, I'll remember that. Once you're in Ireland, you can go anywhere.
yeah, you can.
I believe you.
It's
I've actually mused that one of the most effective ways to get to Europe is just to fly to Ireland, and then you can take transport. Now, you said that you took ferries, and so like, how did you get between Santorini and Rhodes?
Well, what I had to do was from Rhodes, I actually flew into Athens, and the only reason that I did that was because my daughter was flying in from New York through one of the Scandinavian countries and then into Athens, and I just really needed to make sure that she was where she needed to be. She's a young adult, you know how that goes.
Yep.
So we took the ferry from Santorini. We stopped in Naxos. We went to Mykonos. That's what we did. We went to Mykonos, and then we took another ferry from Mykonos to Athens. The ferries are great. Much, you get more of the experience. It's a better experience, I think.
You said on the ferries.
Yes, than
and
flying.
How far do the ferries go between places?
I think they actually go all over, but like anything else, you have to do a lot of research. There's slow ferries and there's faster ferries.
Sure.
So it depends, I guess, how much time you have. I think I had 5 days in Santorini. And so it just really depends on what your own schedule is. But I would personally, I think we took the faster ferry. So rather than the slow ferries.
So it wasn't cruise ships. These were just ferries.
No, they were ferries.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a website. I did everything online. I planned the whole trip myself.
That sounds great. That's a great report. So, and what was the longest ferry ride you took?
All right, that's September of 19. You're asking me.
Oh, I thought you might say, it was overnight, or it was like just.
No. It wasn't overnight. It didn't seem. It wasn't that long. I want to say less than 2 hours.
Okay, so not terribly long ferry rides.
No,
okay, I know some people that would be hard. I would enjoy it myself, but I know some.
No,
people...
it was fabulous. That was the really windy one, and it was actually sort of a luxury ferry. It was very nice. So
and I'm gonna. Rose has a comment or question, so we'll come to Rose here in 1 second. But Susan says she wants to go to Greece. Any suggestions? So if you have any suggestions, it sounds like you've already made some. Take the ferries, go to Santorini, go to Rhodes.
Practical shoes, light clothing, hydrate, and just really plan everything. It is a lot of fun, and there's so much to see. And I do use all the guidebooks. I use Rick Steves. I have one on the table for Great Britain from Rick Steves, but I didn't buy it last year. It was probably the year before.
And so, Margaret, how long? What was the temperature in September?
It wasn't bad. It was probably 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one could go in October, November, and it's probably still pretty mild.
Yes, and my understanding is that it's less crowded starting in September, and the rates go down as well.
Okay, so that's some good tips.
It's it is.
I like the tip about the practical shoes.
Oh, definitely, and those stairs.
That's one of my top 10 tips: is wear very comfortable footwear.
Yes. Yeah. And safe footwear, because the cobblestone and whatnot. So there's all those practical things to think about. And sunscreen.
And sunscreen.
And a hat.
And a hat.
Yes.
Great packing list for Greece.
And a bathing suit, not much more.
Okay.
And someplace, and I did go to that, the Black Sanded Beach also as part of our tour. We ate lunch there and we went in the water there.
And I was wondering, how warm is the water in those beaches they were showing in Santorini?
Well, when we were there, Santorini, the water was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous, as was Mykonos. And on Rhodes, the water is not cold. I'll just leave it at that.
It looked
It's
it
not
just looked
hot it's not hot like a bathtub or a hot tub, but it
probably
was
refreshing.
Yes, very nice.
I like the color of that blue water. That was something else. I kept thinking about that.
The water was fabulous.
Well, that's a great report. Now we've got a first-hand tour guide has given us, Margaret, and just remember the pack light and practical shoes.
Yes, I was also in Iona, by the way, but I didn't say anything earlier.
Oh, were you in the Iona class this afternoon? Oh, you
Yes.
should. You could
That's
have
how I
said.
knew about your cap.
Oh, right. Well, you could have mentioned something about Iona. Well, which cap were you referring to? The one I was wearing, or the one I was wearing on Iona?
Bicycle. No, the one you wore today looked like a bicycle cap.
Ah, yes, my Get Set Up cat. Yes.
Okay.
It's this cap right here, and I don't wear it in the evenings because it shades my eyes. In the mornings, I have to wear it because the sun comes in the window that I face, and I have to shade the light. Rose, did you have a question or comment?
A question for her. You said you spent 6 days in one location, 5 days in another location, and you were talking about the length of time it took to travel on the ferry.
Right.
I want to know how much time did you spend on vacation? Is this a month? Is this 2 months? Or
I actually was in Ireland for maybe a week or 8 days before I went to Greece. And then after that, I went back to Ireland. So I was away probably close to 4 weeks.
And where were?
That sounds like a lot of fun. You squeeze into like a 4-week span.
I like to have fun.
I can tell, especially listening to you talk about the actual trip itself, making the journey from one city to another city. Sounds like it's pretty interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
And where did you fly to in Ireland?
Dublin.
Dublin, okay.
Yeah. I was with my brother and my sister-in-law initially, and they're sort of tourists there. I'm not. I've been going since I'm 5 years old. I won't tell you how old I am, but so I took them all over, essentially in 8 days. It was a very, very compressed type of holiday, but we had a great time. Then, as I said, I went to Greece with my, where I met my daughter. And then we went back to Ireland. We have family down in Kerry, and we were there for the Listowel races down in Kerry, and we had a great time. It was fabulous.
Great.
The only thing is you have to fly in and out of Dublin now. There's no flights that go directly in or out of Shannon. They all stop over in London, which is unfortunate.
So you used to be able to fly Boston to Shannon or JFK to Shannon. You can't do that anymore, or at least not right now.
Well, I don't want to go to JFK.
Okay.
It's just it's a horrible drive out there. It can take 45 minutes or it can take 3 hours. Whereas I know if I go to Newark, it's going to be less than an hour.
Well, my airport, my international airport is Dulles, and there are direct flights Dulles to Dublin, and so it's actually a relatively short flight. I think it's only 5 hours, Dulles to Dublin, something like that.
Okay.
You arrive before you know it.
I know. Before you get a good nap in.
That's right.
Okay, I'll stop talking.
No, that's okay. We were asking you, Rose. You'd been there. You were the tour guide telling us all, and I liked your practical advice.
I like planning it all myself. So I do a lot of research, and I think to me, I feel better doing that because there's not a whole lot of uncertainty, especially if I'm by myself at some point. So.
Sure. Well, there's a class Wednesday afternoon on traveling solo, but that class will be repeated. And I'm always looking for people to invite to come to classes like that who have that experience, because there are many who want to travel and they know they're going to go solo and it feels daunting. I've traveled solo a lot myself, even though my preferred way is to travel with my wife, but she doesn't always like to go as often or as long as I do. So sometimes I've done some solo without her. But what you said is what one of our panelists, Regina, will say on Wednesday in the class, that for her, the planning the trip and then executing it is a lot of the fun. In other words, I planned this out, I did it, and I do some classes on how to plan your trips. There's one on how to use online and mobile apps to plan trips, but we'll do other classes on planning trips. And it helps people because it can feel very daunting, and I get that. It can feel very daunting. And there are many ways you can plan a trip. You can go with a tour. You can use a guidebook. I mean, Rick Steves has itineraries you can pick if you want to take one of his. You can also talk to friends that have been there and ask for itineraries. One of the TAs here at Get Set Up is asking me, he wants to go to Ireland. He goes, can you give me a tour group? And I said, well, I can just tell you where I went and how I got there. You can save the tour.
Yeah.
It's not in Dublin's. I told him, I said, if you go to Dublin, you can go to most of the places you want to see in a week in Ireland. I mean, you can see plenty of things in 1 week based in Dublin.
Right.
So
the country isn't very big.
That's right. The country is not very big. Any more comments or questions about Greece? I've now watched that one twice, and then also Rick does one on food in Greece. I don't think the whole the whole segment is on food in Greece, but we did see some where he went to Idra, and I'm also personally interested in going to Ikaros. Is it Ikarios, which is an island where people live regularly to be over 100 years old. So those would be interesting places to go. More questions or comments or observations? You've been there.
Me?
No, anyone. Anyone.
I just think there's so many islands to see. And, I just, because it was the first time I was there, and actually, I was supposed to take a ferry from Rhodes over to Turkey, and I missed the boat because I took the public bus and it was late. So that I literally got to the dock and it was pulling away. But that was a day trip that I had planned. But I think that there's so much to do, and I think that you do need a lot of time, I think, not to feel rushed unless you're just going to breeze. I like why I stayed in Rhodes for so long is because I wanted to feel a part of the culture. And that's why I took the bus. And that was a whole part of the experience for me.
That's right. That's part of that slow travel that I talk about, is experience being in the culture, kind of get a day in the life. Thanks for sharing about your experience of literally missing the bus. Or missing the boat. Sorry, literally missing the boat.
Missing the boat because of the bus.
Yeah, because of the bus, you literally missed the boat.
Yes.
Very good. So we've still some time here. I was going to show you all something on the Get Set Up website, but I don't want to preclude any questions or comments that anyone would have. How about a show of hands? We'll just do this. Raise your hand either virtually or just raise it if you're on camera. Wants to go to Greece. I know Myrna does because she's told us that. Okay. A lot of people want to go to Greece. Well, as I said, it is apparently one of the places now open to American tourists. And I actually read that. So that's not, I've seen about once a week, I see a list of all the places in the world that are opening to American tourists, and a lot of them are a little more off the beat places, which means they're eager to get Americans to come over. Of course, I do recommend anybody don't travel if you haven't been vaccinated. Doesn't make any sense to do that. And I also tell people, be patient if you want to go somewhere. One thing to remember in this time of pandemic is that the places you go to may not be like you think they're going to be because of the pandemic. You really have to find out ahead of time. However, it's hard to know whether they're going to be crowded or not, or what they're going to be like. So let me share screen here with you and just show you all one thing, how you can find classes at Get Set Up on travel. And I'll just pull up a screen here and we'll do Get Set Up. Here we go. And if you go to the site, there's my page. Everybody seeing that? What wonderful things will you do today? And if you, I think you all know, you can click on here and this gives you all the classes. So there's the class we're in right here. And if you have a guide like me, you can click on the class and then it will say about the guide. Okay. And then if you follow the guide, so there's me. And it says other classes I teach. So now you can get in and you can see that tomorrow night we're doing Festival Tuesdays and Wednesday is Foodie Wednesdays. And then I've got a May 11th, we're interviewing a special guest, Mark Miller. On the 7th, we're doing top 10 travel tips. Here's Traveling Solo coming Wednesday. And if you could click on here to book it. If you want to come to that class, book it soon because it's almost full. And here's about sharing your travel photos using Google Slides. And
Did you ever find out what happened to Rick? Why I can't get into Rick's thing there?
did you try following the link to Google to YouTube?
I tried following, and then it says, "Oh, you can get an earlier one." I go there, and I can't. It doesn't open up. There's something wrong with it.
I'm sorry, I haven't been able to figure that one out. I do want to show you all one other thing. If you're at My Home, you can put also in a guide's name. So if you know Deb Livingston, and you can see Deb's classes drop down right there. Here's all the classes Deb has scheduled. These are just the ones that are scheduled. Or you can put in my name, Russ, and you can see, here you go, take a free city tour of Munich. You can see, here's all my upcoming classes, next week's destination. So if you want to follow, for example, something like travel, you can just come right in here and put in the guide's name. I do all the classes about travel. So and over here is large group free. You can follow it Tuesday, April 27th, 32 seats left. So you can just click right here and book it. Just want to make sure you all could see that. That's kind of a new feature that you can put in the guide's name, and you can find an easy way then to see the classes. Well, any more questions or comments, observations on the video tonight? Questions on anything? We're almost out of our time.
Find out about the Rick thing.
Yep. Contact help at Get Set Up, Nancy. That's the best way to get help.
All right.
Or she can go right on YouTube and get set up, and then she can see the menu.
Yeah, I've actually seen it on the Get Set Up on YouTube, so I know he's there.
I'm talking about the live event that he did on Get Set Up.
Yeah,
but you have to go on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Why on YouTube?
Because we have all of our classes and events on YouTube. They're there. You can see them on YouTube. So you go to Get Set Up on YouTube, and you should be able to find it.
I doubt it.
I'll put the link in there for you, Nancy, in our class notes from tonight. So when you get your email, just check the link and there should be a link to YouTube to the Rick Steves video.
All right.
They are on YouTube. I took a class on one of the Google Slides, and I was able to look at it again.
There you go. Akawa, you had a question or a comment?
Yeah, I want to know, where is your next class? I had to shut down. My system was overheating.
And I'm sorry, what were you asking?
The next time that you have a program like this, where will it be?
Tomorrow night, 7 p.m.
And
Eastern time, Eastern Daylight Time.
Where are we going?
Tomorrow night we're doing festivals, and so this will be European festivals. I believe we'll be going to Munich for the Oktoberfest, among other places. I think we're also doing some festivals in Pamplona and in Italy.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Hope to see you there at the class. Probably not at the festival, though I would enjoy going to the festival. I will confess. I would even go to Pamplona for the running of the bulls, even though I don't want to watch it, just so I could get there. Well, you all have a good night. I hope to see some of you or all of you or any of you tomorrow night and or any of the regular classes on travel. And everybody have a good rest of your evening.
Yeah,
Don't
you
forget to
too.
put the website in for me.
You too. I enjoyed the class.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you. It's a
Thank
wonderful
you.
class. Good
Yeah,
night.
Rob.
Thank you.